Yeah, I was on TV once before for a live small interview,
Oh, okay.
this time in Germany, because I do volunteer work. And so it's recording now.
Yes. No, I will cut it. Okay, this
Yeah,
is
you'll cut
second.
it.
Uh, your full name? You want me to tell full name?
Yeah, Surya Athili is the
Athili.
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 Athili is a region or a small village in Andhra,
Okay.
near to Godavari actually.
Okay. I will tell Surya. Okay.
Surya,
Namaste.
namaste.
Today I am with the Surya. He used to work in US for 8 years and Germany. He is working currently since last 5 years. He's he don't believe in a god like an atheist or something, but still spiritual. So this podcast will be related to these questions related to spirituality. So my first question is, if someone is not believing in God, how he become a spiritual? How he can become a spiritual?
Okay, the simple form that everyone exists. You as a person exist not because of only you, but from the people around you. You're born to someone and you live with someone. Even if you don't believe for what you believe, the others will believe in something also. So there's a mix of things like everyone believes in. But we coexist, basically, is the idea. Like, for example, without the trees, without the nature, none of us would exist. Only humans cannot exist by themselves. So you have to exist with everything else. Even if you don't believe, the majority of things around you will have a belief, because every living thing will have its own belief. It might be an animal, a small ant, even the air with all the things, insects and around it. They all follow some principle, meaning they all have a core belief somewhere. We don't know what that belief is. And just like that, all humans also have some core belief. Some have a name for that, some don't. So, in my perception, like you introduced, I don't know what that core belief is. And everyone, all of us, once you get to a certain age, the consciousness starts becoming more central. You get these questions and ideas like, why is this happening? What does it serve? What is this purpose? In my thought, it's like that is the core idea that you're trying to get to. What is this belief? What should I believe? Why is this happening? The journey to that, many people call it spirituality. And so this is where my belief is also. I don't know what that central force or power is. So I can call it a God. But God to me is nature, because without nature, I will not exist. So I believe in nature mostly. So I believe in God, which is nature. So when you asked me yesterday, do I believe in God? That's why I was like mixed. What is God? God to me is nature. If that is the answer, then yes, I believe in God. But I do not believe in a theistic, like, okay, there's this presence or there's this shape or entity. I do not, I still believe it. I can believe it, but I don't know which one or how. And being Indian, like we have different gods because we can pray to trees, we can pray to stones, we can pray to animals. And like Naga Devata, we worship snakes because these are all entities in a different form. Because like we say, God exists in everything, and that is the symbolism of it. If you worship everything around you and treat them more than you respect it, then you get good things in favor. We depend on the land, the food we get, the air we breathe, everything that we touch. Everything when around you is in its proper existence or a pure form, then it helps you. So you have to let everything around you in its own natural form, and then you get things back. And in this, I believe. So that is God to me. So I'm a believer in nature, and God to me is nature.
So in India there are many temples and all. How this temple thing started? Because I'm asking this question because we read a lot of history.
Yes.
That's why.
Yes. So temples, so everyone has some ideas. The day you're born, you're starting everything around you, you learn about it. Like the baby, if you observe small babies, the moment they're born, they try to sense everything from touch. They watch everything and they want to touch something. So touch is a very important sensation. You get more things from like sense of smell, like all the five senses, what we have. Like you see something, you smell something. Even if you don't see something, you hear something and you smell something. So these are very two important senses. And with the eyes, it's very important. This is how you register and you confirm this idea also by touch. So touch and vision are very important. And everything that is put down in a place, you get the belief that, okay, this is very safe and secure. This is very established. This I can trust. So first you hear information. Someone will be talking about something. If, for example, if you have some, so inside us we have sensations, what we want to eat, what we want to do, where we want to go. But before you go do this, someone has to tell you what to eat, where to go, what to do. And this we get from hearing. Like someone talks something, you get this idea, and then they say like, okay, I want to do that too. It sounds good to me. It makes sense to me. So you get that information from someone else, and then whatever that is, if it's a food, if you, with your nose closed, try to eat it, you're not safe or secure inside. You have doubts like, okay, how is it going to taste? Is it going to good for me? Like you have these questions. But the moment you see it and you smell it, you give already an idea, thought to it. I will like it. I want to eat it. Or I don't want to eat it. This sounds funny. Or this smells funny, right? So the site is very important. And if it is at one place, then you trust it more. So someone has to write it and someone has to store it. So now it can be all anywhere, but if you go back thousands of years, people came to this already constructed idea that if you put it in a sacred place and you write things down, you store information there, and people talk about it, this great place, people build the security and trust, everybody would want to go there. And this is how the idea of temples started to come. It's like, okay, we build a sacred place, a sacred area where everybody can reach. I mean, it is not sacred to begin with, but there is this concept of energies. Like all animals, birds, trees, all the living things understand the energies around them. We as humans also do. Like all humans also carry energies around them. And yeah, if you're peace and calm inside, you carry this good vibration and good energy with. And also, if you're not all over the place, people can tell you, okay, he's peaceful, he looks calm, things like this. So all animals carry this. So there's energy points all over. So people back then can sense this. I mean, people now also can sense this. So some people are usually born with this also, and you can train these energies also, which is what we do with meditation also in a way. So there are good energy points, and people decided, okay, there are some good energy points. We want to make that space useful. Let's put something that will be there for many years to come. So this is a sacred place. That is how the word sacred came to be. And then the construction started. Okay, how do we secure this place? And then came architecture, like how to use stone, smithy, and different things put together. And then they started inscripting. So the knowledge, what they had, has to be put in a central place where everybody can come and access. And with good intentions, when you come to this good energy point, you exchange this good energy over there. You bring your good energy, you spread it around. And you have good energy around, you take it also. So it's a give and take combined with the knowledge. And this is how pilgrimages started to be also. People from many different aspects come there and exchange. Now pilgrimages happen very quick. It's like, okay, I want to go there and do this, see this, and come back. Back then it wasn't like this. Pilgrimage meant like, okay, I'll go to this place, exchange everything that I have. It's like an open-ended thing. People used to travel, go there. It used to take a lot of days to go there. And then they used to exchange what's there. They used to learn this thing. Good example is Varanasi. Like there's so much of information there, like mantra and tantra and yantra. Like these are the three things that Hinduism has. Like mantra is something you say, tantra and yantra. Yantra is like a device or a mechanism. And tantra is the art of doing it. All these three things are important. And places of exchange like Varanasi, which is a good example, used to have this the most. And that is why people all flock together to Varanasi, stay there for years also. And that is why a lot of the people turn into different things, like because they do not know what would come. And it's an unending subject. So you go there, that is established there, you exchange that, you don't know how much time. And this is how it used to be, like places of worship. You go there, this energy is enormous. And when you get that feeling, wow, this is enormous, then you lose the concept of time. Concept of time is a funny thing. The perception of time is also quite funny. Like, yeah, you measure according to how the day begins and the day ends, but what happens in between, you give it a time, right? The time what we define as a second and a minute is a very modern invention, modern meaning some thousands of years, but time exists forever. We put it in perception, like, okay, how old is Earth and all of that, then there is a concept of time. But things like, for example, the plants, the other animals, their percept is very different. Like what 1 second to us is not 1 second for the tree or for the animals. So our perception is quite different. We follow the sun principle, the animals, and also the plants, they follow it. So you can fast forward time or slow down time. All animals do it actually. We also do it, but we do it in a different way. Now we become more mechanical. You wake up, you want to do something. So we want to make use of the time that's available to you. So you constructed something around it that, okay, this will take this time, this will take that time. So you follow a time pattern thing. Like if you go back thousands of years, like we humans, we did not follow this concept of time. Only for hunting, we used to follow it because, or growing plants and crops, because time was much more relaxed and slow. People did not have the worry that they will not have enough or there's not enough time. Now we perceive mostly about, I want to gather this before something else happens. What that something else is like death. The moment we are born, we think, not from the moment we're born, but once you get older, you think about, oh my God, wow, time is running away. I'm so and so old, I have to achieve so and so thing. You think in these terms because of death, which is also true. None of us can escape death, so you want to maximize this potential. So that is why we split it into seconds and minutes and all of this, and you put everything in plan according to that. But if you take thousands of years before, people are so content and happy about that they're living. So they're living mostly in the present. They're not worried about death because they know death might happen anytime. They're not worried about it. So the concept of time was different. And back then, through different techniques, they were used to slow down time, which also happens now. Like we sense it sometimes and we say, wow, today feels everything's a bit slow and relaxed, things like this. So the concept of time is like a suspension. So back then, temples existed to carry these processes forward for time. So they built temples that would last forever, meaning you don't need to worry if you die, because if this information is passed from person to person, then you need to worry. Before I die, I have to give this to someone else. But if you put like a central place where some information that you exclusively know would bring it and put it there, then it is for time eternal. And then this is the concept of temples, like why temples exist as a central theme of authority. And then in the beginning, it simply used to be a stone with some inscriptions on it. Like some person put their first foot and then they would etch this foot and this person was here, meaning that gives some authority for people to go there and believe, okay, this is used for a good purpose. I will share my sensitive information also here and it will be carried on forever. And then slowly that became figures of authority and there was more divisions. So it became more streamlined as to which person authority has what kind of information. So like I said, like at least from Hinduism angle, like Tantra, Mantra, Yantra, no one place has all the three aspects. Some have Tantra, some have Mantra, some have Yantra. There's only few places. Now we call it places of worship because you go there and worship, bow down and worship. But that is also an idea that started existing in the last 1,000 years or a couple of thousand years ago. Before it wasn't like this. There was There wasn't this hierarchy that someone else is great and powerful and someone is not. So everyone is equal. It's just like there's a transcendental journey from the day you're born to the day you die, like where you transcend and where you go. There is no high and low. Everybody has their own. So it's not like you have to bow down to something. You have to accept that you're a learner. As long as you accept that you're learning, then you're transcending into something. And then if you let it happen, it'll also happen in different directions. You just have to let yourself be and accept what comes and think about it. And then you'll slowly transcend. And these places of worship, for lack of a better word, the central places where you go and then you exchange, and then the perception of time changes. You don't have the concept of how many years I'm going to live, what's going to happen tomorrow. No, none of this exists. You live in the present, meaning you're living today. Like the sun comes out, sun goes down, let's say there's 12 hours. This 12 hours, if you use, can seem to you like 1,000 years if you use it the right way. It's like how you can transcend your thoughts and yourself. Like I also believe that body is like the physical entity is a vehicle, and the brain has a conscious connection to many things. So it's the brain trying to give you a superficial consciousness that through your different senses, you sit here and you think, okay, it is the middle of the day, the sun is coming out, the energy is high, it's slightly warmer. It's the brain telling you through your body. But what is the brain actually feeling? We do not know. And through different levels of consciousness, you can know this. And when you're in that phase or medium, 5 minutes seem eternity. You can learn a lot of things in this 5 minutes. Yeah, so you lose the physical concept of time. You're in a different sort of dimension, for lack of a better word. And you think about the present more, not about the past or the future, because the whole idea of the goal is to know, learn, see, feel, those things. And it's at this central places of the high energy points, it's much more easy to transcend. And that is why these places have all the knowledge, information, and when you present yourself there, everyone has access to it. You just have to be in the right mind. It's not like you go there, you try, it did not work. You go there, you keep trying, it'll work someday. Everybody has a different mechanism to understand and adjust. So, like everybody has a different frequency. I always give this example of a tuning fork because we learn it from our textbooks in school. Like you take a tuning fork, you bang it, it goes at a frequency. And when you bring a tuning fork that can resonate with the same frequency, then it happens automatically. You don't have to do it. You just have to bring it in its presence. So this frequency that flows within all of us, like the heart is beating at a frequency, sometimes it's beating fast, sometimes it's beating slow. You can control this frequency also. And when you're at your calm and peace, there is a frequency, and that is your frequency. And when you find it, all of us will say, oh, I like it here. Wow, this is so nice here. Because you are emitting these frequencies, so your surroundings would tune these frequencies. And yeah, so you have to understand at what frequencies, what you can do. And yeah, in these places with high energies or good energies, massive energies, and this is what we also feel when we go to for example, as Hindus, when we go to temples, there's a certain thing that you'd feel, like everything around it, like the mantras, the chantings, the people all chanting together, the chorus, the rhythms, the chanting, the singing, the rhythm it establishes a frequency. And when you go, you also tune to this frequency. And that is why you feel in a transcendental state. So that is where trance comes from, because you're transcending to something, to a different state. And you establish with various mechanisms, either through chanting, there's a rhythm, or helpful mechanism is through instruments, like they bang. So that sets up a frequency, and then you tune to this frequency immediately. And this is what I was saying earlier with the sense of sound. Like your body knows, oh, this sound is something. And you hear it, you want to go it. So it'll take you there. So yeah, these places, that is why you have all these, and temples are are actually constructed to further this knowledge and information. Everybody used to go there, gather information, go there, put it there. So you could go, exchange it, add it, or take it, use it further, and come back and add it. And this is why pilgrimages used to happen a lot. People used to go from place to place, and then they used to hear, "Hey, did you know there's this thing there?" And either you add to this or subtract to this, whatever. People used to simply go from place to place because living is technically, if you have protection, like from other predators, which we have as humans, we are the apex predators. So we finished that aspect already. We evolved and we became the apex predator. Meaning, you're the king of the jungle, basically. So you came out of the jungle now. Like, what else is left, right? So as animals, all animals know they're going to die at some point. And we also know we're going to die at some point. And we know, okay, I should do something else in this time before I die. So you kept evolving and looking further and further and further out. Now you started understanding nature, how to use nature, how to be one with nature in different formats, because the other animals cannot survive in other conditions. For example, we cannot survive also underwater, right? So on land, we try to further and go and go and go and try to maximize everything. So we all know we're going to die, but the more that you learn is the satisfaction you get. And this, I think, is like a human niche. Like, it's not like a greed, I call it. It's just like a calling that, okay, there's this aspect. You want to learn more and more and more and more. Yeah, so there's enormous amount of information all around it. And people who are into this idea that I want to learn more, this is like unending. Yeah. So temples are the best centers of knowledge for many thousands of years. So now they became libraries, which are books, and internet is the latest temple, I would say, because it's a collection of facts and knowledges and everywhere. Of course, there's a lot of things that are not right or not correct, which is always the case. Yeah, this did not used to happen some thousands of years ago because it would take more time and effort to put down information. For example, if you have to etch and carve something, you wouldn't do it if that information is not right. Even if you're doing it alone, someone would come and say, like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Why are you doing it? So, but now, like, because of the ease at which you can put information, a lot of it is not so verified and well constructed to begin with. But regardless, there's always unending information, especially when it comes to biology. And this, like, we find a lot more things from nature, from biology, like how things happen, why are they happening, and also from underwater marine biology through. So, like I said, like, we don't know a lot about the sea, but when you learn a lot about the sea, you understand the full cycle of how things evolve and happen. Because we are also water-based creatures. So there's a lot of genetic memory in us when it comes to water and the connection of how and why and what we do, because we're made out of 70% of water, the bodies. So as much as the connection to the land, we have a lot of connection to the sea. There's also this thing that why we are dependent on salt, because of the seawater, right? Like the animals were like if you go back, dial down, like the first moving creature came out of the water is what to say. So the whole idea is like water plus salt, right? That is how your cell structure and the mechanism works. So that is why there's an inherent need for salt everywhere, because salt is not available on land. It's only coming from the sea, right? The salts. Yeah, so we have a lot more connection to the seas, and yeah, through modern innovation, we are learning quicker about things around us. Yes, so internet is the modern temple, I would say.
Oh, okay. So, do you believe in a near-death experience?
Yes, I do.
So there are so many people sharing their near-death experience and all. And do you believe in a reincarnation and all? If there is a scientific connection with it, as you read science also.
Yes, sure. Yeah, near-death experiences are true also, in my opinion. I cannot certainly say that I had something, but I did have something similar. And I also sometimes get a deja vu. This deja vu, what is deja vu, right? I also do not, like many people do not understand it. Only the people who experience deja vu understand it. But why is it happening? Like, how can you see something that did not happen or feel that, okay, this already happened? So we, like I said earlier, we are in different transcendental states, and I believe sleep is one of them. Like yeah, your body is resting and you're repairing everything, but if you take the context of a soul, what is the soul actually doing when you're sleeping, which is somewhat tied to reincarnation also. So if you have a soul, and according to that theory, the body is like a physical entity, but your soul is actually residing for this time period, and then when the time is done, like it would transcend to somewhere else. Now, death is in concerning to your physical body. So there is a time that the physical body will evolve and dissolve. So at the end of dissolution, we call it a death. So it's only for the physical body, but the soul will always live and carry on. But where did this soul come from? If there is a physical body, why was there a soul in the first place? So it actually came from somewhere, right? So it is incarnating again in a different form. So what is, in my understanding or perception, it is that it's collection of energies put together, as brilliantly put by some scientists. Like energy can neither be created nor be lost. So there's a finite set of energy in the cosmos, for lack of a better word, like everything beyond Earth also, and everything gets balanced in a beautiful way. So this energy transcends into different ways, and one way to put it is a soul. So the soul is all shared by us. It's a common collective. So this is all a soul, if you ask me, because we're all in contact with everything nonstop. Like if you go in vacuum, how long can anything survive in vacuum? So that is the question. Will soul survive in a vacuum is the question to me sometimes. Because we know the concept of vacuum, nothing exists or everything ceases to exist. Does the soul transcend into vacuum through vacuum? I would say yes, but we cannot really conclude how. So that is why I believe also in reincarnation, everything takes a different form. And near-death experience is your soul communicating to your consciousness that the time is up. It is ready to transcend to something else. So it is a message or notification given that, okay, something else is happening. So the soul is what our conscious or subconscious self is not aware of. And when you're feeling sick, your subconscious is still there, but your conscious is not there. So your soul is still intact and is trying, like the soul is staying in the body, let's say, or around the body, because there's two ways to look at it. The primitive level is to look at it, okay, soul is within me. But the real way is what is like how I was saying, like there's an energy, there's a presence around us, that is the soul. So the soul is around there, and when the physical vehicle is not moving forward, then the soul transcends into a different form. Like in Indian movies, like the old Indian movies, they used to show it like a small light that is passing away. Like that is like a very good reference to understand, because light is what's happening around us. So they put it in the format of light. So the soul transcends, and sometimes the soul does not transcend. Then your conscious self is knowing, okay, there's something happening. So you as a third person view this like, okay, I am that, or I am this, I'm transcending. So this is what most people call it near-death experiences. It's funny that they say it near death rather than near something else. So it's not just before death, but the most established theory is that, or most established experiences is that people on the verge of dying can remember or think that they are dying and come back and say, I was about to die. But it is at a state which is sort of closer to death but not death. So it is a different state. It is, we think it is closer to death, but there are other states that we do not know of. And this is a transcendental state. And then normally, I think, when we are sleeping, we dream. What is this state? It's a dream state. Where is this state then? It is a living state because you come back to life. But where is this state? There is no levels like low, high. It's like different states. So we, conscious people, like doing normal things, we do not think about many states. Dream state, yes, we think about it. The living state where your conscious self is using your senses, everything. Like, okay, I have all my 5 senses working, although my sight is not so great. It's not like a 20/20 vision I have, but you mostly register with your senses, your physical senses. But the things you realize without your physical senses is also a state. And one of them is a sleeping state. So in this state, you experience other states. So you transcend from one state to the other state to the other state. So near-death experiences also is one of those states. Like we have yogis who meditate and do all of this. They go into different states at will. And it's not something one can explain to someone else. It is an experiential thing. You have to put yourself in the state and you have to experience it yourself. So yeah, there are something called near-death experiences. And the other part is, like, if you state it that way, can you also create your own death then? Because death is a state. If you are transiting to different states, then can you also go to death? Is the question. Yes, there are people that will put themselves to this state. It's like these sages that will go into tapasya forever. So they are progressing to that state because they accept death is a state and they're not bothered about it. They will simply transcend into different states and the physical body just stays there. And this is also in Buddhism, right? Like, yeah, you just stay in this state and not worry about anything else. Like, and we know like real examples of this also, like the Buddhist sages and monks who just turned into stone just by sitting in one state. So they are transcending in different states, and we cannot for sure say when, how, where, which states they are. So there's many states. The subconscious sort of knows about it, but from like when we are born, like as we grow up, we are made ourselves conscious of a conscious state more than the subconscious state. So this is that problem. And when you know, other than subconscious and conscious, there are other states, then you can try these states, but there is no guarantee certificate, right? Like you sit down and then you transcend and then your soul will say, okay, I don't have any interest in your body anymore, and it'll take you to the other states. And yeah, so these are energies, what we call in like land of India, like good energies, bad energies. So yeah, especially in this region, there's this also called Daiva, right? So these are the different states that exist, and these are all, it's not like, are they good or bad? That is not the question. Are they real or not? It is also not a question to me. They are real. Not everything you see is real. It's a perception, what we see. What I see is completely different to what another person sees. We probably don't even see the same color the same way. And like for example, some don't have their color blindness. Why do they have color blindness? Because it's a different perception that they have. We say it's blindness, but they see other things that we are blind to, which we do not know. So everything is existing. Real or unreal is not a question. If you think of it that way, like in Hinduism, we say everything Maya. So then everything is unreal. What you're experiencing is not real at all. You're just dream state all along. Yeah, but I see it the other way, that everything is real. Maya is just another name. That's something you cannot understand, is in my opinion. Yeah, so near-death experiences happen, just like dreams happen. It's just that I think the human body suppresses your near-death experiences much more. It makes you forget. Only if you're very conscious, you think like, okay, that was something weird. Like I have this dream yesterday that I died. People say this a lot. Maybe they died and came back. Unless, why would the dream be portrayed in that way? Like, what is a dream is like a big question. Is it real? Is it unreal? And the most usual explanation is that, okay, you're in a different state and you're somewhere else. And like through research, it's established that your brain makes you aware of the dangers that are coming ahead. So you dream about them, is what research mostly tells, that if you're worried about something, if you're afraid of something, your brain is preparing that for you. Meaning, is it foreseeing what is going to happen and make you aware to your conscious self, okay, don't do this. So it serves as a reminder, which is why we wake up. And in India, we have different theories that if you are dreaming at 4 in the morning, it's going to come true, or this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Dreams come at this time because the devatas go at this time, the daivas go at that time. So it's different people giving you different signs of what to do, what not to do. So it is a state. It is real, I have to say, right? Because dreams keep happening to everyone else. So it is real. What is the state? We don't know. Why do we dream? We sort of know that, okay, we are preparing for that. But the real way to explain is like, yeah, you're transiting into different states. Yeah. And yeah, sleep enables that. Like people also daydream, meaning with their eyes open, you wander off sometimes. And also you lose perception of time. So that is also a different state. Like you're up and like you're active, you're watching, and then simply you wander off in your thoughts, right? You think like, okay, you're doing something, okay, there's 2 minutes to that. And your thoughts wander off, and you're like, okay, shit, what time is it? Although you know you're in an active conscious state, you still lose where you are. So that is also a state, some different state, like a daydreaming state, what we call it. Oh, don't do daydreaming or stop daydreaming is what you call it. But why should we stop daydreaming? I mean, the modern lifestyle has allowed us to stop these things, which are not natural, because if you're daydreaming, then it's also your natural state. I mean, like in the schools, like when people sit, like the kids are sitting, not every kid is paying attention to the lecture that's going on, because it's a natural state. Like you daydream, you wander about, and you're supposed to do whatever you're trying, your body or your mind is trying to do. So we mechanize this process very much for a very output-based system. Is it the right system? Not entirely, because, yeah, this is corrupted. The system is corrupted by the concept of money. Everybody is after the pursuit of money. I mean, the pursuit of money is not bad per se, but the concept of how much to pursue is bad, because this greed consumes us. Because humans, we have this gene which creates greediness, and then we're following this gene right throughout, because we're very insecure all the time. And money gives us this sense of security that you can acquire everything, and also money gives you this power, and people put you in this powerful positions if you have money. So everything with money associates this. So the school system is also a mechanized system to pursue this further. Yeah, so but in this process, we are losing our natural selves, right? People, I mean, yeah, like the current generation of kids, like the Gen Zs, they don't know where the food is coming from, or they don't have a connection with nature. Like they don't understand trees or animals or nature. The first thing they find an animal is like in a zoo, which is crazy. Like you capture an animal, you put it, you take away all its things. It's not an animal anymore. And then that is the natural state where most of the Gen Z kids are looking at it. So they lost this connection, right? So what enabled this? It's the schools and the money that enable this. If you take this both out, like the modern schools and money, nobody will think or look at it that way. Yeah, like now, because of this mechanized process, we're going to a different direction, which is like robotic. Like this is what robots do. Like robots have a finite state mechanism. It's not an infinite mechanism. We create an algorithm like, okay, this is where you start and this is where you end. This is your things in between. And then we are creating human robots. I mean, not we, but things around us, the system. We as communists should be very conscious about why we're doing it, for what we're doing it. Why is like we're being enslaved, that is for sure is the answer. For what? In pursuit of this greed, like, okay, you'll be rich or you'll be powerful, you'll get this, you'll get that. But for what? Like, you're not going to get anything. What you're going to get is death at the end, that is for sure. And in pursuit of something else, you're not going to change death. You might die still at a very young thing or very early. But yeah, so we lost this sense, and most of us are going in the senseless direction. Yeah, so basically, yeah, near-death experiences, there's nothing to be worried about it, I think. As long as you see it in a way that, yeah, this happened, and not be worried about it, but think about it. I would say like journaling, a lot of things helps to put things in perspective. It is a very good thought and ideas and habit that people used to have. So it's a way of journaling how things happen. And like we tend to forget a lot of things most of the times, and journaling is one thing that helps. At least not put everything into detail, but if you have an experience that is slightly different, then put it down and try to put things like what happened before and what you're thinking about after, like, because we plan every day ahead, not just a day ahead, but a month ahead and a year ahead. Like, next year I'm going to do this, in 2 years I'm going to do that. It's because you have this thought, something else is happening to you. Your subconscious is trying to say take you somewhere, but you're consciously doing it something else. And I think because of this, there's this confusion of the states which you're in. And sometimes, for example, if you're sick or if you're in an accident, why do accidents happen, right? Like, because you're in a hurry, you're trying to do something else. Like, someone else is in a hurry and trying to do that to you. Like, if you just by yourself, no accidents will happen. When are you by yourself? When you're in a state that you know where you're going, what you're doing. You're not in a hurry. You take your time, you go. Then you don't simply die. Of course, without lack of food and oxygen, of course, you're going to die. But if you're thinking right, you surround yourself with these things, right? Then death is not so easy. In fact, like I would even say, go out to stretch and say, we've also mastered how to live, meaning how to slow down death. Because people used to live simply for more than 100 years or even longer. Like if we go in the Himalayas, there's people that are living for hundreds and hundreds of years. In fact, like they came from Mahakumbh also. They come and they go. Like, how are they not dying? They won't die simply because they don't know. Like, we all think about 365 days, 1 year, 2 year, 10 years, decade, things like this. The concept of time is completely different. We think if you format this, you think it this way, but to them it's an entirely different thing. They follow cycles. So you just transform from one cycle to the other cycle, which is like the yugas and everything. So it's like an unending cycle. You just transform from one cycle to the other cycle. Everything is cyclic in nature, right? Like the sun comes and goes. Like the earth is cyclical. Everything is spherical and cyclical. So the concept of cyclicalism exists everywhere. And this is where reincarnation also comes from. That is why there's no contradiction to this. Like, you cannot really contradict. No, you cannot be born in a different way. It's all cyclic. You exist in a state, it will not cease to exist. It will go back into another form, another state. And what's one thing is like, okay, if you do bad things, you'll be becoming this. This is a notion like where there's a good and a bad, but it's all a perception, good and a bad. There is no good, no bad. Everything is either it's useful to you or not useful to you. Everything that's not useful to you is termed as bad. Everything that's useful to you is termed as good. But again, it's a perception. So yeah, you transcend from one state to the other state, and then you shouldn't be worried about what your next state is going to be because you don't know what your previous state is. Like, you're here because you did something, let's say. I mean, you put it into normal forms. People say, you do good karma, you're born as a human. And then this is the highest form, and then, you have to keep doing good karma. Yes, good karma is important because bad karma will bring back bad things, meaning you end your life sooner, simple. But you still transcend to another state. You shouldn't be ever worried about what that next state is going to be because everything is actually happening the same way. Everything will be born, will die. Everything will cease to exist at some point and will transform into a different thing. So yeah, reincarnation happens. whether you like it or not. I would say also I put it one step further. I don't take it as a defensive. Regardless of what you want to do, what you don't want to do, things still happen. And I believe reincarnation is one of those things. And just like death, nobody can escape it. You can prolong it, like you can live longer, or you can also, which is what I was saying with transcendence, you can transcend into a different state. And when you do that, then you're picking up what your next state is going to be already. So that helps in the reincarnation process. This is something like the Dalai Lama also said in the like different contexts and different ways, that this is their whole idea, that he knows when he's going to leave his presence, and that is why he knows what's coming, or someone else will take over. So he's never worried about that. It's not only him; it's just like any of us, but he sees things. His perception is different, right? So he's prepared for it, and all of us also should be the same way. I mean, we tend to worry about a lot of things, like day in, day out, but there is nothing to worry. Like the moment you're born as a human, I mean, look at it, like everything, like I said, like we're the apex predators. Like what else is there to worry? Like everything around you is already established, and yeah, people worry about death or something, but it's fine. Like, yeah, as long as you know, oh my God, there's death, and everything ceases to exist. Like good luck. I mean, you achieved a lot already. If you're consciously thinking death is bad, that means you've seen things from the other perspective. So that is already a good achievement as a human, because you cannot, I would say you have to be at least 10 years old to understand death. Because if you see small kids, they cannot register death, or they don't know why everyone is sad. Why? In fact, like death is also a celebration, that we do not say, we say he passed away, but what is he or she passed away? Like something came and passed away, right? So it is a celebration that from this state, also we say like moksha, right? Nirvana, moksha, all these words. It's like transcending to a different state. And we celebrate that this soul is no longer with us, is what we also say, may his soul rest in peace, or peace is our term. So he left us, he passed away, he left us, meaning here, but he moved on. So everything moves on. So that's why kids don't register this, because to them it's like, okay, why are we all behaving in a different way? Only when you're very conscious of, okay, I'm going to die at some day, I'm not going to have all of this, is when you're very conscious that, okay, I want to live, I want to see as much, I want to do as much, I want to eat as much. Everything, so the greed comes in, like everything, I want to do this, I want to do that. So this want is from you. But even if you're not doing anything, planning anything, things still happen how they're meant to be. Yeah. So I suppose that answers the question, like near-death experiences are real, reincarnation is real, and yeah, I would say we're all just transcending the different states.